What's up, guys? We're going to talk about Pauper and why you should play it and why I focus on Pauper probably in my local community for now. So to begin with, why Pauper? Pauper, or what is Pauper? Pauper stands for poor. So if you ever hear anybody calls you Pauper or a pauper person or something, that means a poor person. So why do they call this set Pauper? Well, if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, you or know anything about it, if you're new to Magic the Gathering, you can see that there's a lot of cards. There's been cards around forever, since 1993. So there's a lot of cards. In new formats, you can't play some of the old cards because they're not legal. Pauper is one that is so easy to understand. You can play from any set as long as it's a common card. So what a common card is, and I'm going to show you one of my Pauper sliver decks, is if you see that symbol right here. See that symbol right there? That means it's common. That usually means that it's cheap. Now, it's not always the case with Pauper. I mean, it is cheap. Most of these cost like 5 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents. Some of these slivers can cost $1. You know, considering that, you can get a deck for about a good deck for about $60. So that's really, really cheap when it comes to Magic the Gathering. You can spend $60 on one card. You know, Shieldred that I talk about on the channel, she costs $60 now. If you hit a Shieldred, you could buy you a Pauper deck, and I mean a competitive Pauper deck. Let's put it that way. So you could use any common cards you want, but when it comes to Magic the Gathering, you want everything to have some kind of synergy. So that's one of the reasons we focus on Pauper. So Pauper is nothing but common cards. You can play with only but common cards. Now, there is an exception to the rule. It's any card that's ever been printed common. So you have to watch out for that. And we'll show you an example of that, what I'm talking about. Put up my slivers. So I have a Boros red and white deck. This red and white deck is pretty OP. And I'm going to show you one of the best cards ever probably printed as a common card. And if you play Magic the Gathering Arena at all, you've probably seen this card, Monastery Swift Spear. Okay, you've probably not seen this version of it though. I'm going to get my standard mono red deck out, and I'm going to show you. So Monastery Swift Spear in modern or standard is actually an uncommon card, and it was an uncommon card for quite a while. And what I mean by uncommon, you see this symbol right here? That means that it is uncommon. But technically, you could play this card, this specific card right here, in Pauper because it's been printed in as a common before. Hopefully it's not too confusing for anybody trying to figure out how in the world they play Pauper. But that's the thing. If you have to look it up, some uncommons, so even some rares, back in the day, rares are considered common now. Some of them has been reprinted as common. And usually that means that the game's changed so much that some rare cards are just plain common cards these days. So they'll get reprinted as a common card. So you have to watch out for that. So the reason you want to play Pauper is because it's simple. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It's really fun. It just because you play with only common cards. See, here's one card, and this card is actually, it has been printed as common. And I suggest actually trying to get all commons if you can, because it's easier if you're playing like a tournament or something and you don't want to, make any confusion, like you're trying to cheat or something. But this card's actually printed as common, and then it's a 10th District Legionnaire. Really good card, and you do have an advantage if you do use some of these uncommon cards that's been printed as a common. It does help out a lot. I love these monks that has prowess. You got the Monastery Swiss Spear, you got Seeker of the Way. It's extremely fun. Extremely fun. See, there's another Monastery Swift Spear. You guys see that? It's another Monastery Swift Spear printed in the same set, but just different art. Got the full art, regular art. Here's one for you old school guys or people that's new. Lightning Bolt's actually been printed as rare before, but it's actually a common back in the day. So Lightning Bolt, a 1-drop instant, does 3 damage to any target. So pretty broken. Lightning Bolts with Monastery Swift Spears, extremely fun. Let's put it that way. This is just a Boros deck I kind of threw together. It's an extremely fun deck to play, and that's what Pauper is. It's fun, and it is competitive. It is a competitive mode or competitive format, but it's not so competitive that everybody can get into Pauper. I've played Pauper on Magic the Gathering Arena when they have the events for that, and that might be the most try hard I've ever seen in my life. But this is actually a very, very casual format is Pauper. It's just cause it's cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money on rares or mythics. You don't have to worry about what set you're playing. It's simple to understand. See here in my mono red standard deck, you got Thunder and Raju. It has, there's 15 different sets here. Not really, but these are all recent sets. You got Phoenix Chick that just come out in Dominaria United, and you got Kamagai, Reinforced Ronins. Reinforced Romans, a 1-drop, and it's uncommon. You can't play with that in Pauper. We got Squee, Jara, Koth. They got a bunch of Planeswalkers. You don't get none of these. You don't have to deal with Planeswalkers. You have to deal with crazy lands. It's all common cards. It's very simple. But I want to say, just because it is common does not mean that the deck's going to suck. That's for sure. That's one thing I thought was going to happen. But whenever you get a good Pauper deck that works together, and listen, guys, you can pull common cards from tons of sets. Like you can play with. So right now, this recording, the Lord of the Rings set come out, and you can play with commons in it. Now you can't play Lord of the Rings in Standard. Standard is the latest and greatest sets. They do have banned cards now, but you can't play Lord of the Rings in Standard. Lord of the Rings, any common card that's been printed. That's why I find this so appealing. Any common card that's been printed as common is mostly legal. Now, there is some cards that are banned on Pauper. There's not many. Mostly it's those anti cards that they used to have back in the day. Everybody gets these Blossoming Sands, and they don't want to play them in Standard or Commander or anything because, they come in tapped. But, man, are these cards useful in Pauper? That's what I'm saying. You get to use all these common cards that you probably hoarded around for centuries. And now you have a format that you can jump into fairly cheap. $60. I mean, you don't have to spend $60 on Pauper. You could spend probably $20. Go to a card store, check out their commons they have there, and just most card shops, they have a common box. Like they sell commons for like 25 cents. So here's what you do. If you want to build a good Pauper deck and you want to spend the least amount of money, just go to a store. They have so many commons. Now it's going to be hard. But this is the way to save money: is get you a deck, probably off of Aether Hub, Moxfield, something, and get that deck list and go to that store, and they will find you those cards, or you can find them yourself. You can dig through the commons. 25 cents is not bad for a card. And you're going to save. And sometimes if you buy a lot, they'll give you 10 cents. It's just the way it is. So, I mean, look at this. I have this set booster box of Lord of the Rings, and I could use some of these cards in Pauper now. And that's just awesome to me. Like, you know, you don't have to play limited. See, every one of these are Pauper legal. There's common. There's a red common. There's an uncommon. Now you can't play that. But common. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You get to play the latest sets. You get to play the old sets. You can play beta cards if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. That's why I find Pauper so appealing. There's not many other formats that do this. Now you do have Pauper Commander, and we'll talk about that. I don't have a Pauper Commander deck, but in our local group and online and stuff like that, they do have EDH Pauper. Or EDH stands for, it's just Commander. I can't remember off the top of my head what EDH is, but EDH Commander, same thing in Brawl, Historic Brawl, specifically on Magic the Gathering Arena. It's all similar. You have a commander, you have 100 cards. So the difference in EDH Commander Pauper, and now normally you want to play some crazy strong rare, mythic rare, crazy card you've had, and you can pretty much play any crazy card you've had forever. And that's usually a legendary. See, I don't know if I have a good card on hand to show. What did I put in here? I've got so many decks now. Oh, I need to label that one. Anyway, so you could use a Planeswalker if you wanted to. Here, I'll get out my good cards here out of my set box. So you want to play. So it's still the same rules apply. You probably want to have a legendary, or yeah, this would be a good card to show. So you wanted to play this as a commander. You could have this in regular commander. It's a mythic rare angel. Your deck has to be red and white. So your deck has to be the same colors. You can pick the same colors that your commander is, because they all work together. In Pauper Commander, you can have any uncommon creature as your commander. Now you can't do that in regular commander because it'd be kind of pointless, but this opens up a lot. Like every other card has to be common, but your commander can be uncommon, which is just awesome to me. So anyways, guys, I hope you kind of understand the basics of why I like Pauper, why you should play Pauper. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below. I just make you some Pauper decks. Now, I'm going to take most of these with me whenever we play locally, and, you know, I have Pauper decks, and I don't care if anybody plays them because they're cheap. I think I built this deck for like $10 because I went to the local game store and just threw stuff together. Now, my sliver deck, I had to specially order stuff off of eBay just because a sliver common deck is just crazy. Now, imagine how crazy a rare sliver deck is. Then you got a common sliver deck is just as crazy, almost. It's not as crazy, but it's still crazy. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Pauper. If you don't like it, let me know. Do you like it? You want to play it? You want to learn more about it? This is a channel for you. And I'd like for you to go subscribe to me on YouTube here. Follow me on Twitter at the Smango. We'll see you guys next time.